Okay guys, so hello and welcome again to the, I'm just gonna call it the Venividivici PK Clan Tournament Series matchups. What we have here is another match of the round of 32, and this is gonna be GoodSpeed. I haven't casted that much from him yet, I believe one game of not even a one game. He is a very good player from the same country as I am, and also Yumio, by the way, also from the same country, still participating in this tournament. He is a player with very good micro, very good game knowledge, not just about the standard BO stuff, but also about decision making and stuff like that. We have here GoodSpeed in green playing British. We saw a little bit of Civ changes right before the game started, but it turns out to be British versus India. So here we have Legaichdu from France playing as India versus the British, and he's a player that actually has a pretty good China and pretty decent other civilizations as well, but China and India are definitely stronger civilizations, what he plays best. The map so far looks quite okay. Unfortunately this hunt is going a little bit away for GoodSpeed, that sucks a bit. On the other hand, he still has a second one there, and Legaichdu only has, this one is further. So pretty decent. Mine's also okay. I would say mine's a little bit in favor of Legaichdu, but it's just should be fair enough to continue playing this game. So then we have India here with, of course, two scouting explorers, the two elephants. Very nice as well as a meat shield later on in battle. But of course you can scout the map a lot faster. On the other hand, one of these is of course weaker as one hero from the European civilizations. We have here this coin not picked up yet by Legaichdu, and another scout over here. A very nice treasure to take. You can put it in stealth mode and then of course see every raid or army movement from your opponent. And we have here 140 food treasure. He is gonna pick up this coin before GoodSpeed goes for it. However, let's see who is gonna find this one first. I believe that Legaichdu just missed it because his elephant the first time went from here to this side. Anyway, he's waiting there, so probably want to go for the 70 coin first. Would be very unfortunate if GoodSpeed manages to find it, but he does not. He changes his scouting pattern and goes upwards. That means that he kinda let this whole area here unscouted, but he first want to scout like over here, this part of the map. Anyway, he's bringing in his second hunt, but he shot one time too fast there. You can hear it about every 20 seconds or something. Actually it's just something I do automatically. I don't know the exact time, but every now and then you can hear it, and if you do it too fast, of course it won't move, and then you have to wait a little bit. You saw him there shooting it again afterwards. So wonder coming up for India here. That's the Agra fort. It's just very standard stuff. You take it from map control, and from there on you have two options, which also depend on the map, but this map British has a decent food. One option is like going for a kind of an all-in rush. We saw, for example, Nerpio do that yesterday in the game versus Victor Sui. You make a lot of sepoys, you even ship your camels, perhaps even the Raiputs. Not the best shipment, but if you go for an all-in, you need every unit you can get. And the other option is going for some map control, as you see here, and then doing a little bit of pressure with your sepoys, and after that go into a little bit more of an economic strategy. For example, with the 600 wood common shipment afterwards to catch up with the consulate, the market, some upgrades, etc. After you've done some damage to your opponent to slow him down. So we see there that he's going to pick up 140 food, although it is going to be very close who is going to win this. If he doesn't pay attention, GoodSpeed might take it. However, he has two elephants of course, so he can still fight with one. And there we have GoodSpeed taking it, because you're not paying attention there. GoodSpeed used his crack shot. He moved over there to the left corner of the treasure, kind of hidden for Legaichdu. Then you heard him using his crack shot. It's a different shot, I believe, slightly different from the normal shot. He took it and he surprised Legaichdu a little bit there and managed to steal the treasure from him. This one elephant, by the way, was just too far. He should have been a little bit close to the treasure. So what we have here, market. Standard for British, a few houses. He also brought in the second hunt all the way from here, so that's also a good job there, but of course normal, we expect something from a player like that for sure. And there we have the fort being scouted by GoodSpeed, so he knows what he's up against. Of course this is all very standard still, so it's not a surprise. Two sepoys from the edge up. quite strong, by the way. You get a fort and you even get 2 sepoys, but that's another story. There are wrecks coming up and the age up tower. That is also a very normal thing to do. It gives you so much extra defense versus any rush. No walls yet. I really like the fact that he's not using any walls. On the other hand, we talked about this before, it is a tournament game, so whatever it takes to win. Sometimes you would, for example, make a wall like between this house and the tower, or between the house and the tower on this side, just to make sure that, for example, your longbowmen can better use their range, and your villagers are a little bit better protected versus any pushes incoming. So there we have it. Elephant's leading the charge. He is not going for villagers, rather going for the tower directly, and shipping 4 camels right away. That means if GoodSpeed was making longbowmen to counter the sepoy rush, he definitely has to cancel them because he's gonna lose them right away. Okay, he doesn't cancel them. Then either he can pop out Meadman or just let it go to waste there. But Meadman is probably a little bit early still. He's gonna use his villagers and does a good job actually in blocking off the camels to the longbowmen. On the other hand, keep in mind, as long as you use your villagers, sorry, let me fix this here. As long as you use your villagers in the battles, you won't be gathering anything. But he did a very good job at focus firing the tower and the town center on the camels, and only 2 are left. And he killed only 1.5 longbowmen, as you see there, half HP for 1. Not the best micro by Legaichdu, I have to say. He could have definitely used, for example, a few sepoys to shoot down the villagers, because the tower would go down anyway. But now the villagers were just blocking instead of taking damage, and that is a good trade, of course. Sepoys going in again, trying to. Now it's actually a little bit too low. So this is better. Going in there for a raid, trying to kill a villager. They cut 1.5. Again, not fully successful. And this is actually a bad way to go back. You should, if the longmen are standing over there, you should walk away like this, and not like this, not this way, because you will just be hit all the time. As you see there, 1 sepoy down, and a lot of HP lost there. He lost 1 elephant, still has 1 left. Not too much HP, but still quite nice meat shield. He has to be careful on how he can approach this, because the longmen still have a lot of range, and he has quite a nice mass of longmen there. 2 villages just in the town center, and there you have some pikemen popping out. 1 more villager going down. Of course, trying to focus fire the pikemen, but you don't need every sepoy to fight the pikemen, and this is interesting. I do like that he's putting him in melee mode for his longbowmen. However, he should have some in the back, not in melee mode in my opinion, to just be able to shoot down these pikemen so that these camels can do some work as well. Sepoys have so much HP that it's always a nice option to just put them in melee mode versus any ranged infantry like longbowmen or skirmisher, as you don't have melee resistance, so that you are able to do melee resistance yourself. Anyway, he put some in range mode again, as you see there, and the other one's now also going to be changed to range mode. Adding some pikemen, that's actually very interesting. If he used his town center fire maybe a little bit better with some more villages in it, he would definitely be able to kill the camels earlier, and I'm not sure why you would make pikemen at this point, because the Indian player, having sent sepoy and camels, is not able to add a stable that fast. That means if you kill the first camels, you will be able to hold on. So I would have preferred to have a batch of 5 longbowmen and afterwards more pikemen. There we see Consulate coming up. Let me quickly take a look at the shipments. There was 700 wood and I believe 600 wood after. And for Legaichdu we had the camels from 94, and then we had 12. I believe, yeah, 5 separate shipments as well. Anyway, some villagers are here on the outside trying to get some wood over there. And we see that Legaichdu is just scouting around the base a little bit. Of course, he knows that there are probably longbowmen in position over here on that side. So that means that he will go around and try to see if he can pick up any villagers herding on the outsides of GoodSpeed's base. He is able to shoot 1 villager for sure, yes, there we go. And almost getting a second one, that's why he's gonna try to come in again. 1 more goes down. And there we have 600 wood, so that must be his 3rd shipment. Then I have to check again. He didn't ship any villagers. Maybe he shipped 6 longbowmen. Oh wait, there's 6 musketeers. He shipped 6 musketeers, okay. So, extra protection, of course, and there we have the second Rex coming up. So now the British is definitely able to hold on from here for now. Boom a little bit more with the houses, get some more economy up, and being able to spam from 2 Rexes, of course, is pretty safe. That means from this point on, he can still be a little bit active with the Sepoys like he's doing now, but he can't just push into this because of the Musketeers and Longbow in position. So he definitely needs to mix in Gurkhas, in my opinion, and also he needs some cavalry. He is trying to go, or he is going for the Ottoman consulate and allying with them. You get 3 Hussars. So a pretty good cavalry in the second age. But as you see in the scores, it is still all going fine for GoodSpeed for so far. Losing the tower and a few units is not the biggest problem. And the village account, yeah, he lost like 4 total or something. There he just shipped 5 villages, by the way. He is leading the charge with the Sepoys. That is interesting because, of course, Sepoys get countered by Longbowmen. On the other hand, it does make sense in a way because you want to have your cavalry live as long as possible because they will do very good versus the Longbowmen with 33 melee resistance. There we have Minutemen popping out. Good choice, I think. I don't like that all Sepoys are going to put in melee mode here again because there are too many pikemen and musketeers around. Actually, he's blocking his own hussars here. As you see, they are not able to get through. And because he put all his Sepoys in melee mode, he was not able to kill the pikemen and musketeers on time, and that will just mean that his hussars will die relatively fast to the pikemen and musketeers remaining. And of course, the town center fire that he used there. Just 9, by the way, now. Not the best engagement for Legaichdu, and I'm probably gonna be the game deciding moment here. He should have definitely waited for some more camels, or at least used his Sepoy better, as you see over there. There we have it, 2 Rex Longbowmen spam now. From now on he might add some pikemen because of course he lost some anti-cavalry, and this is a point in the game where you can expect Indian player adding a stable as well. There we have the stable. So if you have Longbowmen in big masses, a few camels don't do that much, but of course if you can mass camels, then you definitely need some, if the opponent can mass camels, you definitely need some anti-cavalry to deal with it. I would really like to see that he's gonna mix in some Gurkhas. Of course, they are very food heavy. The whole Indian civilization is, in fact, but they will do so much better because they, of course, deal bonus damage versus musketeers and pikemen. But they also have range resistance, so they will live a lot longer, and you can micro them, of course, better with their range. So we have an interesting choice here. He added a stable, and he is going to age up right now. Interesting, and maybe not even a bad choice. He knows that seeing this army from the British and of course seeing it to Rexes, he knows that the British is able to spam a lot of units. And that means that he is, after losing all his army, he's not able to catch up with that anytime soon. So then a good choice is to just age up, benefit from, it's gonna be the tower or the thing that gives you the elephant, I'm not sure how it's called again, and benefit from the 3rd age shipments that you have and the better units that you can spam in the 2nd age. We see that GoodSpeed is doing a very good job here scouting. I went over this a couple of times how important scouting is. He sees that there is no unit for the Indian player, or almost no unit, and there you see the whole green army moving out. And he's definitely going to take down the fort and maybe do more damage. We'll have to see what he's going to be able to do here. If he hadn't scouted and just waited for a long time, he might have found himself in a very bad position, because then the Indian guy can bring up some 3rd age units and shipments, which can be hard to deal with, especially the Mahouts, the really big elephants that do a lot of area damage and have just a ton of HP. So a good moment to push out here. I would like to see him take down the fort. He's just probably moving, yeah, he's probably just moving a little bit over there to make sure he doesn't take any damage from possible units trying to snipe him off on that side. He aged with that wonder, and it is, the Charminar Gate, forgot the name, and there you see it, Mahout 1100 HP, 0.3 range resistance, so that's really hard to take down. A new barracks coming up there, of course he's gonna lose this one. This is also barracks for the Indian player, you can train units from it, infantry units it is. So the wonder going down, map control going down as well for that. And we see that GoodSpeed, with having map control and the bigger army so far, is able to just gather freely around the map. And he is gonna push in a little bit more. He still knows, of course, that the Indian player has no army, or at least a small army, so he's definitely able to do a lot more damage. There we see the Urumi shipment coming in from the British. Nice shipment. However, there are plenty of units out for GoodSpeed, so I wouldn't engage this yet. But he is definitely going to, seeing that the Minutemen pop out as well. We see it all the Longmans are already targeting down this elephant here, and there we have it a little bit bad that his own units are blocking his units again, and the mode is going down without doing any damage at all. These Yorumis are very good versus heavy infantry like musketeers, not the best versus Longmans because they do range resistance even though they are melee units. I mean they do range damage. And there you see it, yeah, good micro from GoodSpeed pulling back the musketeers as well to not take too much damage from these Yorumis. And like I said, Legaichdu should not have fought there. He should have waited definitely for another shipment and a better position, because these small chokes were actually working against him and thus in GoodSpeed's favor with this big mass of archers. You see also now a 40-50 score gap. And kind of a desperation move. I'm not sure why he's making Rajputs, but these are like the pikemen from the Indian army. But of course they're not going to do much versus so many infantry units from GoodSpeed. And there we have it, good game. I think, of course, if he would have waited for this Gurkha to pop out, it would mean that he would have lost one or two houses as well, maybe even the market. On the other hand, these Gurkhas would help out a lot taking down the musketeers and also absorb some damage. You should probably put your Minutemen in first, so they will absorb some damage, and that this elephant, as you saw, 1100 HP and 33 attack, I believe, would do much more damage, because now it was shot down actually before it hit any unit, and very unfortunate there. So good game, well played by GoodSpeed in defense here. Interesting choice for Legaichdu here to age up, but GoodSpeed scouted so well that it was just actually well played by GoodSpeed. That's why you see why scouting is so important. One more thing about this engagement here. I do like some of these sepoys in melee mode, but if you put them all in melee mode, you see that they were not only blocking each other, they were also not doing that well versus all the pikemen and musketeers. And a little bit of a miss-micro there, also blocking his own camels with the musketeers. So I mean with the sepoys. So not the best engagement there for Legaichdu. Anyway. We have the second game coming up. This is a BO5, by the way. We are still playing the round of 32. So just to mention it quickly, we have Great Plains, then we have Saguenay, and then we have Siberia, New England, and Yukon. Okay, there we go. ESO servers are down from maintenance, and that means that we won't be able to play our games right now. So guys, ESO is down for maintenance at the moment. It's happening every Tuesday. It's usually a little bit random when it happens, but when it happens it's like 1 or max 2 hours. And we don't know how long it will take, so we don't know when it will be up again. So I think we just have to wait, and it means I'm probably gonna stream it again later on when it's up again. Probably about an hour, but I'm not sure. By the way, guys, I will then later continue streaming GoodSpeed versus Legaichdu when ESO is back up. Tomorrow we might have the last games of the match between Salento and CM Blue Jays. Friday we have another match coming, but I'm not sure which it was again. Saturday we have H2O versus Owata. And Sunday we will have, I believe, Heroes versus 52798, Yumiu versus Fart, Lord Raphael versus Shimros, and one other. So anyway, it's going to be a very interesting weekend, so keep an eye on the stream on the YouTube channel as well. Let me just put it out for you guys again. Venividivici. That's my YouTube channel. There you can find every video, every stream that I broadcast here with commentary. I will upload it there. You can watch it, comment on it, and see it in any quality that you like. Oh yeah, by the way, Spadel versus Bonen, guys. Sunday, around 13 GMT. Hey Yumi, you there? Please read in the chat about your match. I have a question there. No, Voodoo. Spadel is playing Bonang. They will play Sunday in the afternoon. I'll try to make a schedule for my streaming. And Yumi will play Ford, and that will be in the evening. Hey Yumi, please answer this because I got confused. Ah, okay. Ford has to go to, so we play. Okay. Then there's no misunderstanding. That's good. So we play 20-hour time. So then I can't squeeze in another match, but 20 should be okay then still. Okay. Guys, GoodSpeed, you're gonna play or try to play via this secondary server, or you're just gonna wait up? I kicked him. What? Okay, so you guys, I'm just gonna play a match myself, I think.
ready? Yes.
Very.
Swargamir. Swargamir. Yes.
So it looks like I will have to cut out a big part of this video later. Anyway, back again. Gonna stream the second game between GoodSpeed and Legaichdu. While we were talking about all different kind of movies. And he is finishing his billiard. Are you playing a billiard game?
LOL! I am ROTFL!
So, first game was won by GoodSpeed. It was British versus India. A little bit of a micro mistake, I think, by Legaichdu, but still well played by GoodSpeed. And the second game is gonna be on Saguenay. Map with water, of course, so we have to see how it plays out. However, if it's gonna be China versus French, none of these is really a water civilization. We have seen, though, that... who was it again? Someone playing Ottoman's Grey Fox versus Road of Hope, I think. In the end, Road of Hope decided to go for the water. And that was eventually also something that won him the game, because he got a lot of resources there, of course. But also his monitors, were able to take out the cannons, the big bombards of the Ottoman player, and eventually he was able to win the game.
Are you ready? LOL! I am ROTFL! Are you ready? Are you ready?
Okay, so your mute is not needed in this case. So the first game was won by GoodSpeed Eric. Eric, just watch your stream, man. What are you doing? Second game is China versus French, and as GoodSpeed just said there, the Chinese guy is likely to go Fast Fortress. Of course, it's probably the best strategy you can pull off versus the French guy. We have Saguenay here with a vertical trading post line, so that means 3 instead of 4, I believe, trading posts. And in the middle, of course, hard to defend than if you would have a horizontal trading post line when you have one trading post close to your town center. So French, well, French is probably going to go for a semi-fast fortress as well, probably with a little bit of raiding with the cavalry. Anyway, starting off with 2 wood crates, so definitely going to be a market. They both start off with a plantation here. No additional houses for the Chinese guys this time. Definitely check out the game for, of Gungun versus SNS Jack. It was very interesting on this map. Gungun played Ottomans and SNS Jack played Chinese. He got the extra house and it was a big discussion for a possible rear host. Of course not a valid reason, but in the end the game was played nonetheless. And the Ottomans was not able to take it, even though of course you have quite strong units versus China. But SNS Jack did a really good job there and was able to take that game and eventually able to take the series. It is on youtube.com/Venividivici. If you guys don't know Venividivici, then you should brush up a little bit on your history lessons. It is of course a famous saying from Julius Caesar, and I found it applicable to me, that's why it's my name. Anyway, back to the game. Additional house coming up here. This is all standard China play. We will likely have him making 2 houses. Of course he can make 1 house with the starting crates that he had. And then adding another house will mean that he gets 3 free villagers from the first card, 1 villager from a town center, and 1 villager each from both the houses. Market of course for French, as mentioned before. So far, treasures, nothing that spectacular. 100 wood, that's of course very nice for the French guy. He's not using his scout. A little bit of laziness. Where is the disciple? Oh, there it is. This scouting, and there he finds 95 wood. Very nice treasure. Of course, wood treasures benefit the Chinese player a lot, more than the French player, I would say. Somehow he is gonna able to. Oh, maybe his disciple went there before, and that's why it's probably. Of course, if you scout this treasure before, it means that you will now have it in line of sight. No, not line of sight. You will see in the shadows if the treasure guardians get killed. I would like him to use his disciple on the hero of GoodSpeed, but not sure why he's not. Anyway, let's see if he's gonna. I think that the Chinese guy has it now. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. GoodSpeed took it. So GoodSpeed definitely the bad guy here at taking treasures, as we saw him last game, also stealing the 140 foot. Must be frustrating for the Chinese guy. Also, of course, the scout with the speed that he has is able to run away from both the hero and the disciple. So there. Then there's still 95 wood left for Legaichdu probably to take later. There we have the 2 houses. Of course, you can task the sheep on it. It also functions as a livestock pen, so the sheep will fatten over time, but faster than if you just let them around. Not tasked on a livestock pen. GoodSpeed there bringing in his second hunt. As from map balance, we see 1, 2 gold mines here, 1, 2 gold mines there, so that is actually all looking very nice. He's bringing in both hunts already. Of course, on this map it's always a little bit harder for the French guy to really hunt these herds properly, because it takes 2 shots for a French villager to kill these moose deers, and you have only 5 of them. So if they're quite far, you need quite a lot of shots to herd them towards your town center, and if you miss-shoot ones, or if they just walk back a little bit more, then it will be hard to deal with that. Anyway, we have 2 villagers coming up, so he might be changing this up and go for something funny. I have to say definitely that GoodSpeed is the fan favorite to win this match. Legaichdu is a pretty good, decent player, but it is a BO5. GoodSpeed still has the options to go for Ottomans and Arca in the end if he wants to, if he really needs to. But he's a very good player, both in game knowledge and in micro. And there we see that he is herding, he is tasking his villagers on this foot, and that means actually that Legaichdu knows that his opponent is over there. And that's actually something you often don't want to do. You prefer to have it, for example, tasked on wood or on gold, because then the other guy doesn't know that you're on that spot of the map. And of course, knowing is half the way of winning the battle. Same for scouting. So you can now better adapt to it if you see this, for example, scout again later, see if it's a 2-rack stuff or if it's just a forward stable, for example. That could still be the case, or maybe even a mixture of musketeers and hussars. Anyway, Legaichdu managed to take the 95 wood. Treasure there. GoodSpeed able to advance to the colonial age. There's a lot of sheep there. Of course, French also has 2 scouts. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 9, sorry, sheep. And Legaichdu here has only 3 sheep. And oh no, there's a goat. So he has only 2. Okay, I'm not sure if the ships were distributed fair across the map, but I assume GoodSpeed did a little bit better scouting there. We see 2 Rexes coming up from here. That is interesting. It's not that far away, but it's not that close either to the Chinese guy. Anyway, he is probably gonna go for a fast fortress. We see him gathering a little bit of coin, no wood or something for a Rex. Of course, Summer Palace giving you some units from time to time, and the 400 food to be able to go fast to the fortress age. So what will GoodSpeed do? 700 wood there, so that means that there are no villagers on gold either, so it is going to be a crossbowman pike pressure. Probably trying to take down the house of the Chinese guy, and perhaps being able to pick up a few villages here and there, at least prevent him from gathering and slowing down the age up. 700 coin being shipped, it is a little hidden there, but there you see. So definitely gonna go fast fortress, and being able to pick up a cow. Of course, a cow is always a nice treasure for the Chinese because you can task it to the house, and then it will fatten fast over time. 500 food in like 2.5 minutes. Anyway, nice work with the villagers there. I'm not sure what that is. I think he lost 1 crossbowman. There we have a wonder. As long as it's being built, right, that was the case, then it's all fine. You really need a big army to be able to destroy this wonder, and definitely these 8 crossbowmen are not gonna pull it off. The pikemen are gonna siege the house in the meantime, and the crossbowmen are still trying to fight on any villagers, trying to pick up any villager that they can. I would have liked that Legaichdu would, for example, move some villages over here, because it's not likely that GoodSpeed is going to be everywhere. Also, it's not likely that he's going to ship 3 hussars early, in my opinion. So you can definitely get some other resources here instead of having to hide all in your town center. 9 steppers being shipped, or 7 actually, to deal with this rush. Then you should definitely be focus firing the town center on the pikemans, which he is not doing so. As you see here, I'm pressing the Alt key to see hit point bars. He's gonna use his villagers, however, because he doesn't want to lose his second house. And no Minuteman popping out yet. He probably doesn't have the resources since he's aging up. You see that the villagers are doing a quite good job blocking the pikemans, so that these stepper riders can get to the crossbowmen. But still, no villagers in the town center means that he's not gonna be able to take down the pikemans that well. So interesting move here from Legaichdu to approach this, to approach it like this. More crossbowmen coming up there, and yeah, I'm not sure if this was the best choice to deal with it. Of course, the wonder will build itself. However, if you don't task any villages on it, it will build rather slow, and that's not that can end up to be a problem, because all this time we don't have access to the H3 shipments, and that's basically the strategy that the Chinese guy is relying on here. He has the free army from his summer palace, and he's trying to take out these pikemen as best as possible, but still he's just not focus firing a town center on the pikemen. That's really odd to me. I mean, they do definitely the most damage here, and it doesn't matter if you take out a few crossbowmen, there will definitely be enough crossbowmen left to take down any villagers, so you just want to take out the pikemen that he's doing right now. Finally he's aiming on them. 550 HP left, that's something that even crossbowmen can take out if they want. Also, of course, if you take out the pikemen and you age up, you will be able to use your cavalry shipment and thus better deal with the crossbowmen if all the pikemen are dead. Anyway, 10 arquebusiers from the age up. I hope he's going to use his range, there you see it. You have more range, 20 versus 16 from the crossbowmen, so he's definitely going to be able to micro that pretty nicely. Finally he's going to bring in his hero and disciples. They are very good meat shield, and of course can deal with crossbowmen in a good way because they are melee units. Was wondering why they were still on the map. So GoodSpeed decides to go for a longer push, it seems. Stable coming up forward as well. I was so busy looking over here that I didn't catch any of his shipments. He might have shipped 700 coin. It could be for an age up still, or just no he didn't, or for hussar production. He has, however, a lot of villagers on coin. So let's see what he's going to do here. He definitely has still 2 options, either age up himself or push more, but of course he has to be very careful with his crossbowmen, because you know once the Chinese is aging to the 3rd age, or has aged up rather to the 3rd age, he has access to very nice cavalry shipments, and that means that he already has the skirmishers from the age up, so you have a pretty good 2 combination army there, and that means that you need more than just crossbowmen to deal with it. Of course, hussars also do a good job in blocking off any cavalry, so they basically serve as anti-cavalry. And I think that, okay, 8 crossbowmen there, hussars there, interesting. And as you see now, this hunt is already out, so he has this hunt left. No hunt in the top for him, unlike Legaichdu. So there he has to go all the way this part of the map. And that might have been why he wanted to stay colonial age longer, just to get more map control perhaps, instead of being able to instead of the Chinese guy being able to push him back. Chinese has to be very careful, because when you know that Chinese or that the French guy is not aging yet, it means that he is massing a lot of units, and that means that you shouldn't be out this far on the map, because this is not something you can deal with at this point in the game. You should definitely not be fighting this, in my opinion. If GoodSpeed micro is decent, which he's doing now, these hussars are still able to block off the hussars from the cavalry from the Chinese player, and of course so many crossbowmen also do a pretty good job for his cavalry, because they are in such big numbers. However, he trained some disciples, of course they help. I missed that, sorry. And that means that he is able to deal with this this cavalry. And now his cavalry are still doing quite a good job at taking out the crossbowmen. But there we have new hussars popping out. They should, in my opinion, first kill these cavalry instead of the skirmishers, because this is the biggest damage dealer for the Chinese guy, and also the worst thing for your crossbowman army. Anyway, still doing a good job, shooting, running back, trying to take as less damage as possible. And there you have new crossbowmen popping out as well. Adding the disciples in from the Chinese guy was a good decision. Of course, you can make 5 max at a time with your hero, and they do a pretty good job in melee versus weak, low HP units like crossbowmen. However, I feel that GoodSpeed was probably targeting the pikemen at first a little bit too much with the crossbowmen. If he would have used all his crossbowmen on the cavalry first, might have been a little bit better. Anyway, 10 crossbowmen shipment now coming out from Legaichdu, 3rd age shipment, he didn't make it. Consulate being made, another house of course, and the Rex. So he also used 700 wood, we missed it there, but I'm pretty sure that he used that. 3 hussar shipment for GoodSpeed, and being that long in the 2nd age for GoodSpeed is not the best position for him. However, having no anti-cavalry, Legaichdu should not be this far out on the map. There he's finally pulling back. Of course, he now has access to these musketeers from the British consulate, and he still has the option to do Minutemen, I believe. I would like to see one of those, instead of losing your whole army to these hussars here. Nothing yet so far. Cannon popping out. There we have the musketeer shipment, and that is going to be enough anti-cavalry to deal with it for the moment, together with the Minutemen and the rocket. So good timing there from Legaichdu. Of course, you see that he's still trying to use his range as much as he can. He was able to pick off one musketeer here because it was too far up front. However, microing versus skirmishers is going to be very hard because they outrange your crossbowmen. And keep in mind that Legaichdu used that card which is called just one intervention, that you get a shipment from your consulate, and that's how he got the musketeers. So it means that he... Oh no, he doesn't. I was about to say he has another cavalry shipment available, but he only had the 5 meteor hammers. He doesn't have the 4 iron flails, but they do very good versus skirmish crossbowmen and skirmishers. So interesting that he doesn't have that card in his deck. Maybe because it's a water deck. Anyway, of course he has a Rex up and he is gathering a lot of gold, so I think he is making the cavalry badge. Of course Chinese can make Chukunu and pikemen, which cost food and wood, but they can also make the skirmisher pikeman army in the 3rd age, which cost gold and food, and also the cavalry badges cost gold and food as well. And since he's gathering so much gold and so much food, I expect him to make cavalry there. Also, of course, versus the crossbowmen with GoodSpeed is probably a good thing. The economy of the French guy is pretty good at the moment, even though he's of course still 2nd age. As you see here, he has not only more villagers, but also the French villagers gather faster, and look at this, the resource difference. However, the Chinese guy has access to his H3 units and shipments, and this cannon is also going to be very nice at this point in the game. GoodSpeed there eating up his sheep now, and this cow actually was rescued by Legaichdu, so it means that GoodSpeed was somehow able to steal the cow as well. Really have to keep an eye out on this guy. Able to steal treasures, to steal cows from you. So there we have it. Cannon put up in the right mode. Very well, very good damage, 228 siege damage. 4 range, 4 area, I mean. And of course, there he made the cavalry badge, by the way. And it looks like GoodSpeed is gonna engage, so he definitely has to micro this pretty well, like I should this, and protect his cannon as best as possible with all his infantry, but he doesn't have enough. A very nice surround from GoodSpeed. However, not getting to the cannon quite yet. Now he is finally tasking 1 or 2 missiles on it. The cannon is able to take off one more shot. No, barely not, and there's gonna explode. He is very well indeed dealing with it. It's just he just had too many units. Crossman is of course not the best unit, but if you just manage them enough. I think GoodSpeed, also seeing the score difference before this battle, should not have been out on the map so far with so few anti-cavalry, because the French guy again is still in the second age. If he would have aged up, then I would agree with pushing out, because you know that he just invested over 2k resources in his age up. However, if he's still second age, you should just probably mass a little bit more, maybe bring in a herd or something, but not push in like that, because you have he has a lot of units, a lot more units, a lot more resources invested in his army, and thus a bigger army. So after losing that, it's looking quite grim here for the Chinese player. He lost his hero as well here. That's not only a big meat shield, as you see, 1170 HP, but it also means that he can't train any more disciples from it. So the summer palace is going to be taken down here by GoodSpeed. Not the biggest deal, I mean, it gives you 3 units as China, but only every now and then, every minute and a half or so, I believe. He's not really using his range optimally, I would say, because he still has enough anti-cavalry left, but not sure why not. This is the skirmisher pikeman combination from the Chinese, by the way, in the Third Age. We often see them, not often, then never mind that. He is using his pikeman, however, to fight the crossbowmen. That's not something you like to see. The pikeman should be used to block off the hussars, and not the crossbowmen, so not the best micro here by Legaichdu. The arquebusiers should probably be targeting musketeers here, because pikemen are not that big of a problem because they don't have any cavalry anyway. And there we see GoodSpeed coming around here, crossbowmen still dealing with the pikemen. And the rocket is gonna be safe for now. Why are these pikemen not attacking these? Finally they are gonna be testing the hussars, but it doesn't matter much, and in the end GoodSpeed is able to take this battle again, and therefore the game. Yeah, well played by GoodSpeed. You can also see a good micro there. Not just in using his range optimally in the start, picking off a few musketeers here and there, picking off a few villagers, or at least delaying the age up time, but also, for example, here, coming from 3 angles with your army to really surround your opponent, even pulling a few, he was pulling a few cavalry backwards because there were too many pikemen around. That's something I also point out in the game between Goddard and Lord Imperialist. If you charge in with cavalry, of course you can do so at first, using attack move to get a good surround. But if you see that there are, for example, on this part, a lot of pikemen facing your cavalry, just pull these back and let these cavalry fight. Pull them back a little bit so that your infantry that's standing over here can deal with these pikemen, and then you can come in later at like 1-2 seconds after it. You would save a lot more HP of your cavalry, and you will probably be able to kill at least half the pikemen already, while you don't take that much damage. So good game there, 2-0 now for GoodSpeed. So that means we will jump into the third game, and that is then gonna be, let me go for Dutch, by the way. As you all know, I'm Dutch, of course, so let me just go for the Dutch civilization. And we all Dutch have similar preferences. We all like to play with green. Oh, and never mind, he's changing to orange. Oh, of course, orange is our national color. So, the third map is Siberia, and GoodSpeed is gonna play Japanese, and Legaichdu is gonna stick to his China. As I mentioned earlier in the start of this series, Chinese is a civilization that he plays quite well. His micro in the last game was not the best, as well as for decision making. I think he has done better before. For example, pushing out at not the best times, or a little bit too few anti-cavalry and stuff like that. Anyway, it's probably one of his best civilizations, so he's just going to stick to China for now. And in fact, I think China can do a pretty good job versus Japanese also. Because keep in mind, I'm very happy that GoodSpeed is not going for any Ottomans or Iroquois here, but Japanese, of course, being one of the strongest civilizations as well, probably the third strongest civilization. Because I'm not going into too much detail here, I gave a brief description about Japanese for you guys and familiar with it. They have very strong units, a very good economy, and most importantly, an economy which is very hard to raid because they make shrines all over the map, and not just that it does take a lot of siege damage to kill off these shrines. Also, it will just block your herds, and that means that you can't even gather your own food. So very annoying. What will we see here? Since this is Siberia, but of course both have a tower. GoodSpeed's tower is in the back, and the Legaichdu's tower is in front, better position over there. We will likely see some kind of fast fortress from Legaichdu as well, and I also expect that GoodSpeed is going for some kind of fast fortress or semi-fast fortress as well, and it's going to be played out from there. Maybe he's going to go for some interesting Russians. He's up 2-0 already, but I'm not sure. I believe there is still the bonus prize of $500 or $400 or something. This bonus prize is for anyone who goes undefeated throughout the tournament. So GoodSpeed still has a chance at taking this. So not sure if you just want to do some fun strategy or just rather go for a 3-0. Anyway, consulate going up, standard as well. It will mean that you can age up with 680 food instead of 800 food. Also, you will be able to make shrines a lot cheaper, not just now, but also during your age up, because you already have your consulate built. And because of these both advantages, it doesn't slow you down that much, if at all. So always get a little bit of wood and go for the consulate. Of course, here I believe he just got a wood treasure, 40 wood, 50 wood, so he doesn't even have to gather wood on this map. He has his monkey there. I would like to see him using it to scout around the map for any treasures or resources around, but maybe just forgot about it. Of course, the monkey treasure looks the same as the 30 coin treasure, so sometimes you just get confused. I have the same issue here. Anyway, there's another nice treasure. 110 is probably the best treasure on this map, especially if you take into account what it takes to kill the guardians. 110 wood, that is basically one additional shrine, actually more, with the consulate thing. So there he goes for the shrine right away. And there the third shrine. Of course, keep in mind the Japanese player. This is a very standard deck. It's actually just my deck, I think, here. What you see here is that he also used the town center attack card. It's not something you need versus China, I think, but maybe just a standard deck. But what he has here, what I was talking about, is Heavenly Kami, and that is the card that decreases shrine costs, so that's why he's able to make even another shrine here. And we see there that he is now aging up. He did build it, I assume. You can't always see it as an observer. But he is not testing any villagers on it because he doesn't need that fast of an age up probably. And that means that he's just going to use his villagers to gather more resources instead of building the wonder. As explained before, the wonder auto-builds itself. You can task more villagers on it to get it faster, but it gets you to the other age nonetheless. Of course, the heroes are going to be walking around here building shrines everywhere, being as annoying as possible. I would definitely like to see him building shrines on the map side of Legaichdu as well, because then that means, of course, you will get still the economy, but you also deny your opponent from any resources there. On the other hand, you have to keep in mind that Chinese guy with relatively easy access to some pikemen, because of the shipments and also, of course, the free units that he get, is easier able to deal with these shrines by taking them out with some pikemen. So you probably don't want to make a shrine, for example, over here, but still you can make them here, or for example here or there. Because if the Chinese guy is going to send too many units over there, you can also push him on, for example, this side or vice versa. So the whole map is starting to get shrined by the Japanese guy. By the way, ASAMC is working on an observer map. I just want to mention this again. And we are testing it. So far it seems to go well, and if that is going well for a long time, that means no out of sync issues or something like that in testing games. then we will be able to use it in tournament games later on in later stages, and that will actually be very, very nice, because some of you might know, for example, StarCraft 2 games. There, as a caster, you have the option to see resources, villager count, upgrades done, cards sent in this case, etc, etc, and that will make it a lot easier for me to find out the exact strategies they go for, the exact BOs they go for, and the exact differences between, for example, a mirror matchup. So it definitely will improve, make it easier for me as a caster, and probably improve the stream quality overall. Anyway, when we will have a map like that, I will of course use it in my stream, and you will see it later on. Market going up for Japan, also pretty standard. Of course, you want to go for some shrines early. I've seen actually a few Japanese players going for a market earlier, because you're still getting a lot of food, a lot of wood anyway with your villagers, so you can really maximize your shrine boom. On the other hand, you also see this, and that just means going for more shrines and then market a little bit later on. 600 wood first shipment, standard there as well. And there we have the Chinese guy aging with the Summer Palace, so he is of course able to age up fast, but he ships the 8 pikemen there, and that means that he's just going shrine hunting, trying to take out some shrines there, while he is very likely aging up in the back of it. And then we will probably have a barracks coming up from the Japanese guy there, you see it. Might make a few musketeers just to catch these raiding pikemans, or just even let it go at all. 2 barracks coming up even, and there we have 600 coin shipments, so he is definitely going for a third age agenda as well. Some more units popping out from the... Oh, actually he made one batch. He gets 1 batch from the Summer Palace, that's the free one, and he made 1 batch of pikemen and Chukonus. Or maybe, no, he made, yeah, the one was, the 1 batch is 3 Chukonus and 2 cavalry, and the other batch is 3 Chukonus and 3 pikemens that he made. Anyway, just trying to poke in a little bit here, if you can pick off any villager or any HP, damage your opponent a little bit, delay him in gathering, always nice, but you don't want to overcommit and lose it to Town Center Fire. Good reaction by GoodSpeed there. So we have 3 shrines being taken down now, that's very nice. As you see here, these pikemans, however, they are very low HP, but they have a pretty decent siege attack, as you see here. 30 siege damage is very nice. And also these cavalry, by the way, they suck in fact versus, well, no, they don't suck. They have low HP, but they have pretty decent attack versus skirmishers or crossbowmen units. But they have a very good siege damage as well, so this kind of cheap early army is very well able to deal with these shrines early on. And there you see some Yumis, interesting that he's pushing out already. Of course he has 4 cavalry available, and that's definitely enough to deal with his Yumis over there. Maybe a little bit of a misstep by GoodSpeed, however, if he's able to go towards his town center and micro as he's doing now, he will be able to pick off these step riders you see here. However, in the process he is going to lose some, and not the best micro from Legaichdu here. You see that the pathing from the cavalry is really, really bad. He should have tasked 1 cavalry on 1 Yumi and tried to spread them out in a horizontal line, and now it was like every cavalry attacking the same Yumi archer, and of course they were bumping into each other, not doing the most optimal damage. Meanwhile, this map part is also shrined by the Japanese player, and there we have the wonder going up for China, and also the wonder going up for the Japanese player. So that's going to be a third age battle later on. Of course, the Chinese guy, having scouted the map, knows pretty much where the shrines are at this point. If you of course have scouted the map before there was a shrine, you will see, even though you can't see the shrine, you will see the deer standing like this. And that of course indicates that there is a shrine built there. But the problem with this, it's like worms, they keep coming back. As soon as you kill a shrine, there's going to be another shrine being built somewhere else on the map, as you see over here, and probably as you will soon see over there if he's able to get his hero revived. So that's just very standard early gameplay by Japanese and Chinese. It's like they're fighting over this island somewhere in the ocean. Maybe you've heard on the news a long time ago, a few months ago, and now they're just fighting over the herds. Legaichdu aged up, standard stuff as well. Maybe I should not say standard every time, but it is so standard this. So any differences might come up from what we see now, from let's say from between 10 minutes and so on and further on. He did make 8 crossbowmen from the consulate, just trying to get in some more units to delay his shrine destructions. And he made some musketeers and anti-cavalry as well. And there we have him age up with the Golden Wonder. Also, of course, a logical choice here. Getting 5 Yumi archers from the age up, and as you see here, increasing the attack from any land unit. I was never able to figure out what icon exactly it is. This looks like a bone, you know, from a dog, but I think it's more like an arrow. Anyway, that does increase your land attack units. Land attack of your attack of your land units. 2 more shrines there, and yeah, a little bit of a waiting game. I have to see what's gonna be made here. The Japanese guy will definitely stick to a lot of Yumi archers because the Chinese guy also has the option, the easy option to always go for so many skirmishers slash bows, chukanus. So definitely you need a lot of Yumi archers to deal with it. If you make only Ashigarus, even though they are like OP or close to OP, you're not gonna cut it with just making Ashigarus. There we have the iron flails being... That is actually 2 iron flails. Okay, probably he might have changed this free army from the consulate here. Let me first take a look at his deck. He now has the 4 iron flail shipment. That was what I was talking about in the other game. But he removed that card to get an additional water card. Anyway, now he has the iron flail card in his deck, so we'll definitely see that later on. And while Chukonu Pikeman is probably the strongest composition for China, well, keep in mind, early on, 2nd age, you can only make it, and later on, when you get to the 4th age, it's definitely the strongest composition with the cards that are available. However, in the 3rd age, you definitely want to stick to the composition of Arquebusier and Chengdos. These are Chengdos, these are like Pikemans, because they have the range which benefits you a lot. And even though Chukonus are doing a little bit more damage, their range can prove to be an issue, especially if you fight versus mass Yumis. As you see here, it's 27 damage from a Yumi archer. That is quite insane. That is, of course, with the Wonder and with the consulate from allying with the Japanese. You get 10% boost, I believe, so it's in this case rounded up to just 1. But he also still has the option, of course, to bring in his daimyo shipment, and daimyo is like the special hero from the Japanese guys. You can use it to boost your army in HP and attack, depending on which daimyo you send. And also you still have the Yumi card available that increases Yumi attack, both in the 3rd age and in the 2nd age. Let me quickly check. The 3rd age card, sorry, is no attack increase, it's a hit point increase, but the 2nd age card is a attack increase in even 20%, not just 50. No, we're not kidding here. It's 20% damage increase. So we have a fight coming up here. We see that the Yumi archers are going to be micro to the back, so that the Ashigarus are going to be used in front. But this is a battle that's going very well for the Chinese so far. Of course, all this infantry in the back is able to deal with these Ashigarus, while these cavalry is hammering on every unit that's in their way. However, I would have liked these cavalry should have been pulled back because there were too many Ashigarus around. That's what I mean with the micro that I was describing in the other game. When you face a lot of anti-cavalry here, pull these guys back, let them move around, for example to the back, so they are able to do more damage there. It was looking better than it actually went for Legaichdu. However, still it was a pretty equal battle in my opinion, because he did lose a lot of Ashigarus there, and of course they are a good unit, but they do cost 120 resources, while these guys are rather cheap. Also, the Japanese guy did ship 2 of his cannons, but they were taken out pretty fast. He has 2 cannons available. They are like a mixture between Calverins and Falconets. They don't do that good versus infantry, but still a decent job. They're not like real like Calverins, but they do pretty good versus other cannons because they have also 2 more range as well. So if you micro it correctly, they can do pretty fine. 10 Arquebusier shipment coming out, of course, from the forward shipping point, and then we have the cannon. And actually, I would have liked him to push out when he had this cannon and not when he didn't have it. It will do you so much when you have this army to protect it, because the Japanese guy doesn't have many things to deal with it. And of course, this cannon has, I believe, the same range, 28, as these cannons. Let's see there, 23. Is that a 3? Oh lol. Really? Can't be. Is it? It says 23 here. To me, it really looks like this cannon has like 26 or 28 range, but anyway, it does make sense in a way because it is a very strong cannon with a lot of HP and 230 siege damage all around, so pretty strong cannon there. That means that, of course, if you micro these guys correctly, then they will be able to deal with this cannon. I'm not sure what this cannon is doing there. Leading the charge here, has to be very careful. But his other units are quickly joining it. So now he's just trying to take use of his cannon, advantage of his cannon. But there you see it's gonna be attacked by the flaming arrows. Very nice micro. Shooting twice, immediately pulling back to not get in range of this cannon. And now again coming forward to try to pick up this cannon, and there he succeeded picking up the cannon. And now actually, I'm not sure that the Chinese guy should engage here. He has so many Yumi archers still, and so many Ashigarus. As you see in the score, he's also ahead, and I really like to have some more. Also, what he should do is split up his cavalry. Let part of it move via this side, and part of it move via that side. He's still doing that, and we see that GoodSpeed is now moving his Yumi archers towards his Ashigaru musketeers. However, his Ashigaru musketeers are finally now joining the front line. But why is this cavalry only attacking Ashigarus? It should be pulling back and should be running around. This is not how you should fight this battle. Definitely a better trade for GoodSpeed here, as you see now the score difference being 40 points. He did micro his infantry pretty decent on the Ashigarus, I believe. But if you throw away your cavalry like that, then you're not gonna win the fight. And now we have a very tough Yumi mass to deal with, because once these Yumis are in such a big mass, you don't need as many Ashigarus to hold off any cavalry, because the Yumis are almost pretty much able to deal with it themselves. Especially if you bring up cavalry like 4 at a time. A very unfortunate way of walking back to your army, losing 2-3 units in the process here. And he is still making this arquebusier and pikeman army. I'm not sure why, because the Japanese guy isn't making much cavalry. Also, he even shipped his Chengdu from the home city. But he doesn't need Chengdus, he needs more cavalry, so he should be making batches of skirmishers and cavalry, and not skirmishers and pikemans. Japanese guy is just fine without any cavalry. He doesn't even have a stable yet, as you see there. Going for a town center, even more of an economic advantage there. He didn't ship any villages yet. Of course, he was twice going for the cannon card, and he also... No, he didn't ship the Yumi card yet, I believe. He may have shipped 9 or what is it again? 9 Yumi or 8 Ashigaru cards. But if the Japanese is able to ship his 7 villager card, which he's probably going to do anytime soon because he's not under any more pressure, then he's definitely getting an even bigger economic advantage. You see there, this big Yumi mess is able to pick off any cavalry really fast. And again, not the best position to engage in an army like this. Look, for example, 120 HP versus 120, but on the other hand 16 damage versus 27 damage, so they will do a lot better. And there we have it, good game. GoodSpeed taking it 3-0, probably expected, but a few minor mistakes by Legaichdu, I think. First of all, waiting for his cannon would have been a lot better, and definitely the micro with his cavalry. His cavalry was just going into Ashigarus a little bit too much. He should have more runaround. And if you are, for example, engaging his army, actually this is not a good example. Look how he's engaging this army. He might have clicked, for example, to attack this Yumi archer over here, but that means his cavalry is working in a vertical line. What you should do is go, for example, close and then use attack move. That means that it will automatically find the target closest to them. That will automatically kind of get them in a horizontal line, and then you can manually correct it. So for example, if you have then some cavalry running around here, where you have these pikemans and Ashigarus, you will manually select a small group, move them to the back, and for example let them come to this side. While still, at the same time, the other ones that were already on this side because of your attack move and your better positioning, are doing damage versus these Yumis. Because if you only keep running around with cavalry, of course you're not doing a good job either, because units running around are just idle and not doing any damage. But he just not the best positioning, and also wasting it too long versus Ashigaru, because look at this, 14 damage times 3.5, that's just insane versus cavalry. And of course, while this cavalry has a pretty good attack, it has a relatively low HP, so with this damage, 34 damage output, Yumi archers as well shooting, and some micro as you see from GoodSpeed here, it's just hard to deal with. So you need to micro it a little bit better. So, that's it for now. 3-0 for GoodSpeed.